Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on something that hides in plain sight. A compound in all those healthy foods we eat, spinach, almonds, even beets. That might be the silent driver behind your chronic joint pain or that brain fog you just can't shake.
No.
We're talking about oxalates.
We are, and we're going deep into the source material here, specifically looking at a couple of key research papers, including one called The Clinical and Biochemical Landscape of Oxalate Toxicity. Our mission today isn't just to give you a list of foods to avoid. It's to really understand the biochemical war these tiny compounds are waging inside your body. And crucially, why this mechanism can be so different for every single person listening.
It feels like an urgent mission, really, because for some people, this is the root of so much unexplained illness. The core idea, which the research puts so well, is that oxalates are basically like tiny glass shards or metabolic sandpaper.
Yes. That physical, jagged nature, that's the real story. It's so much more than just simple chemistry.
It totally reframes how you look at a green smoothie, doesn't it?
Oh, completely. You think you're just drinking vitamins, but you might actually be drinking something your body is, physically incapable of processing safely.
So let's start with the basics, from the plant's perspective. Why would nature put microscopic glass in spinach in the first place? It just sounds so counterintuitive.
Well, it's a brilliant defense mechanism, really. Plants can't run away from things that want to eat them.
True.
So they have to evolve these internal deterrents. Oxalic acid helps the plant regulate its own calcium, but the byproduct is these physical crystals. They're a deterrent. If a bug or an animal eats a little, it gets physical irritation and, learns to move on.
And when you actually look at them under a microscope, you see exactly why the sources are so worried about their impact on us. They're not smooth little pebbles.
Absolutely not. They form these really specific, geometric, needle-like crystals. The technical term is raphides. So when you bite into a plant that's full of these, you're dealing with thousands of microscopic shards that are literally designed to cause mechanical damage.
It's an incredible deterrent. And the core of the problem for us is that the human body, we have a fundamental design flaw when it comes to oxalates.
We really do. We just lack the specific digestive enzymes to break them down properly. I mean, some of our gut bacteria can handle it, but if your microbiome is compromised or the dietary load is just too high, then we're left with two main forms to deal with.
Okay, so the soluble and the insoluble. Let's break that down because it seems to determine how fast the damage can happen.
It does. The soluble oxalates dissolve in water really fast, so they get absorbed through the gut wall, straight into your bloodstream. The research calls them liquid poison for a reason.
Because they get systemic so quickly.
So quickly they can just overwhelm your body's filters almost immediately.
And the other kind, the insoluble.
The insoluble oxalates are the ones that are already preformed crystals. You can think of them as sand. They're less easily absorbed, sure, but they still cause a ton of mechanical irritation locally in the gut. And if they do get through, they just join the others in your bloodstream.
So your body's getting this internal invasion of crystals, and since we can't neutralize them with chemistry, the whole burden just falls on the one system we have for filtering waste.
The kidneys, exactly. They become the primary and very overworked cleanup crew. But again, these are physical objects. If the volume is too high, the kidneys just get overwhelmed. They can't flush them all out.
And when the kidneys can't keep up, the oxalates have to go somewhere else. This is what the papers call systemic oxalosis. So where does the body hide these sharp little things when it can't get rid of them?
They don't stay in the blood for long. They're highly reactive, and they look for calcium to bind with. So they deposit themselves in tissues. They basically park themselves where they'll cause the least immediate life-threatening damage. And the papers are clear. They have a specific affinity for tissues rich in collagen.
Which is almost everywhere. Joints, bones, blood vessels, skin. That explains why the symptoms are so all over the place.
That's it, exactly. That's why one person gets chronic, unexplained joint pain, another person gets these stubborn skin rashes, and this one is startling. They can settle in the eyes. That symptom people report of gritty eyes.
You're kidding?
No, it can literally be microscopic crystals embedded in your ocular tissues, physically scratching the surface every time you blink.
Okay, this right here is the biggest aha moment in the entire deep dive. The problem isn't just that the crystal is parked there, it's the immunological disaster that happens when your body tries to clean it up. We have to walk through this fight at the cellular level. with the macrophage.
Yes. Let's spend a minute on this because it's the core mechanism. So an immune cell called a macrophage, it's your body's garbage collector, is sent to the site, the joint, the skin, wherever. It sees the crystal as a foreign invader and does its job, which is to engulf it, to eat it.
So it's just trying to protect the body.
Yeah.
But this crystal is, I mean, it's sharper than anything is designed to handle.
Precisely. The crystal gets pulled inside the macrophage into the cell's little digestive pouch, which is called the lysosome. Think of it as the cell's stomach. But because the oxalate crystal is so hard and jagged, it punctures the lysosome wall.
Wait, so the cleanup attempt causes the cleanup cell to basically rupture from the inside out. What happens then?
The consequence is, well, it's a system-wide inflammatory catastrophe. When that lysosome ruptures, it's like pulling a pin on a grenade. It triggers this incredibly powerful internal alarm system, a molecular complex called the NLRP3 inflammasome.
And the paper calls this the body's biggest fire alarm. What does that mean in practice?
It means it's not a small signal. When NLRP3 gets activated, it unleashes a massive inflammatory cascade. It floods the area with these powerful signals called cytokines. This single complex is a key driver of that chronic low-grade inflammation that's linked to autoimmunity, to persistent aches, and yes, to neurological symptoms like brain fog.
So just to be crystal clear for everyone listening, if you have that persistent brain fog or that fatigue you can't explain, you might not be dealing with some vague, untraceable problem.
Right.
You could literally be experiencing the systemic fallout from your immune cells trying and failing to clean up tiny, sharp objects, setting off a massive fire alarm over and over and over again.
And that's why the inflammation is so stubborn. You can try to dampen the fire alarm with anti-inflammatories, but until you stop throwing the glass shards into the system, the alarm is just going to keep going off. It's a vicious cycle.
Okay, so that dramatic mechanism makes total sense of why people look for total elimination. They turn to things like the carnivore diet, right?
Yeah.
Because meat has zero oxalates. The logic is simple. Stop the input, stop the damage.
It is the logical next step.
Yeah.
But, and this is a huge but, anyone who goes cold turkey often hits a massive roadblock. It's called oxalate dumping. And it's so painful that it's often the point where people just give up.
Why would removing the bad thing make you feel so much worse? That seems completely backward.
Because the body finally sees an opportunity to take out the trash. Remember all those crystals that were parked in your tissues for years?
Mm-hmm.
When the dietary load suddenly drops to zero, your body's like, okay, the coast is clear. Time to clean house.
So it starts pulling all that old stored inventory out of the joints and bones.
Precisely. And it mobilizes them back into the bloodstream to get them to the kidneys. You're essentially flooding your system with years of accumulated sharp objects all at once. The paper calls this whole painful process a cyclical flare.
What are the signs of a dump? How do you know it's that and not just, feeling sick?
Because the symptoms are so related to these physical crystals moving, you see a spike in painful skin rashes as the body tries to push them out through the skin. Joint pain can get way worse than it was before you started. Mood swings, brain fog, and sometimes you can physically see it. People report sandy or gritty stools.
Wow.
Understanding that this is a cleaning process, not a failure, is absolutely critical.
This brings us to a really important counterargument, though, the so-called protein paradox. People worry that if they switch to a high-meat diet, they're eating a lot of protein, which contains this precursor molecule, hydroxyproline. Won't the body just start making its own oxalates from that?
It's a valid biochemical question. And yes, hydroxyproline is in protein, and yes, technically the liver could turn it into oxalate.
But the research suggests that in a healthy person, the body is smarter than that. Why?
It's all about enzyme efficiency. The body's preferred pathway, its first choice, is to convert that hydroxyproline into something incredibly useful, the amino acid glycine. Your body needs glycine for detoxification, for making collagen. It's vital.
So the body would rather make a useful building block than a toxic waste product, as long as the machinery is working right.
Absolutely. The enzymes for making glycine are just way more efficient. The evidence is very clear on this. The amount of oxalate your body might make internally is tiny, it's negligible, compared to the massive direct hit you get from, say, a big spinach smoothie. The danger from the dietary load is just exponentially higher.
That is a critical distinction. Okay, so if someone is listening, this is all ringing true, what are the science-backed strategies for actually navigating this? How do you get the oxalates out safely?
The papers point to 4 key interventions. They're all focused on reducing the load and supporting excretion.
All right, what's tip number 1?
Taper down. This is non-negotiable. Do not go cold turkey on high oxalate foods. You have to reduce them slowly over weeks, maybe even months. This gives your kidneys a chance to manage the stored crystals without getting totally overwhelmed. It just minimizes the pain of that dumping phase.
Tip 2 sounds like a brilliant way to handle this in the gut before it even becomes a systemic problem.
It is. Use calcium citrate specifically. When you take it with a meal, the calcium binds directly to the oxalate right there in your gut. This creates a complex that's too big to be absorbed.
So instead of going into your blood and heading for the kidneys, it passes right through you. You poop it out.
Exactly. You turn the dangerous compound into inert waste before it ever enters your body. Problem bypassed.
Tip 3 is about supporting that overworked cleanup crew.
Hydrate aggressively. It's so simple, but so important. Your kidneys need liquid to flush these crystals out. Being well hydrated dilutes the load and, crucially, reduces the risk of those little shards clumping together to form kidney stones.
And finally, a supplement to support that liver machinery we were just talking about.
Right. Tip 4 is vitamin B6 support. B6 is a key cofactor. It helps those liver enzymes do their preferred job steering precursors away from making oxalate and towards making useful things like glycine. It just supports your body's natural wisdom.
This whole deep dive is just such a powerful reminder of bio-individuality, isn't it? For one person, that almond butter smoothie is totally fine. But for another, maybe because of their genes or their gut health, that same drink is a recipe for a crystal storm.
It is. And understanding the mechanism, that sharp crystal, the punctured lysosome, that NLRP3 fire alarm, that's what empowers you. It lets you move beyond generic nutrition advice and make choices that actually work for your own unique biology.
It's just astounding that these tiny, jagged structures hiding in foods we're told are health powerhouses can completely hijack our immune system. It really demands a much more nuanced look at how our environment interacts with our bodies.
And that leads us to a final thought for you to take away from all this. If your body can store these sharp, painful crystals in your deep tissues for years, causing the slow burn inflammation that takes months to carefully reverse, what other unexpected things from our diet or our environment might be doing the same kind of long-term, slow burn damage that we're only just beginning to understand? It's a powerful question to mull over.